Okay. Be right back. You're gonna get some water and we'll have some fun. Well, go when you're on time, so we're gonna start.
Okay.
And if somebody else shows up, they get the front row.
Sorry. Show up
Okay.
late, that's what you
That's
do.
right, that's what you get. What's the like?
Knit.
Oh,
Knit
that's
late. I'm a knitter.
great. Love that. I'm Dr. Tomasetti. Glad you're here today. We're gonna get started. Briefly, my voice gets tight from time to time. If you need to repeat something, just let me know. Make sure you get the information today and learn something cool, right? Robert Kennedy Jr., right? Love or hate him, we got the same vocal thing going on. And so, anyway, let's listen a little bit about what I'm working through, all of our health journeys, right? So, let's dive right in. Today is going to be talking about neuropathy. So if you're here for something else, that's fine. You're welcome to stay, but we're going to learn about neuropathy. Who already know they've been diagnosed? You got some symptoms going on. You like how long you had it for?
10 years.
So it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you're supporting?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Glad you're here.
Okay.
Yeah, the support team is vital. Yeah. And you got a small enough group here. Anybody else are you exploring?
I'm starting
Start.
to get the tingling.
Okay. That'll all be here what we're working on and talking through
Where
today.
did you start? Your knee? Because I started
No,
my
in my
knee
feet.
down. Yeah, it started there, but now I have my knee down.
You're in your knee
Yeah, it's
down
just
already.
in
Okay.
It's weird.
So yours is starting in the feet. Yours is knees down. Both legs are just the
No,
one.
just this one.
Okay. Got it. And Daniel, how about you?
Well, I worked at UPS in the sword aisle for almost 30 years.
Okay.
On a steel grid,
Yeah.
concrete floor, steel. So I retired about 2 years ago. And I know it's from my diet.
Okay.
So, but it's
Yep.
sometimes some days it's better than
Right.
others, and then it's moments.
Mm-hmm. It'll ebb and flow. And the tricky thing with neuropathy is it never gets better on its own. I can't say never, right? Because I'm sure there's somebody out there. But generally speaking, unless you make some sort of lifestyle change, intervention, something, it's not a cut your finger, heals up, and you're back to right. This is a progressive neurological challenge for a vast majority of people. So we're going to show you through 3 breakthroughs that actually make reversing neuropathy possible for some people. Okay? We get to see stories like this with Shayna. Before I was in pain, 2 triggers down, and I have some balance. Most of the pain in my right side is gone, and my left side is improving. That's like medical miracle stuff. Has anybody heard neuropathy is there to stay and it doesn't get better?
I'm disagreeing on this.
Yeah, so that's okay. Yeah, a lot of times I've heard so many times people go like, Doc, my neurologist said I just have to learn to live with it. Like there's no improving this stuff. So we're going to tell you a different story, give you a different perspective to look through if that's okay. All right, so we'll jump right in. Maybe. Looks like I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. Or I can turn it on. How about that? There we go. So neuropathy is damage to your nerves. So yeah, you're greeted this is like, what even is neuropathy? You've got the central nervous system, which is brain and spine, and everything else is peripheral. Okay, so peripheral neuropathy is damage to most commonly people experience in their feet. It can be hands, it can be the face, and it can also affect digestion. It can affect brain and cognition, brain fog, all kinds of things like this. But bottom line is it's damage to the nerve system. Okay? There's over 20 million people dealing with this. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is not a, if you're looking for another pill, this isn't for you. If you're looking for a quick fix, this is not for you. And we're really looking to help people get clarity and answers as to what's going on in their body and what they can do to make it better. Okay? So, yeah, if you're going like, hey, I just fix me, doc. That will not work. Okay? I've tried that, done that, and it's not on me to do that. Does that make sense? Your body heals, and we just got to unlock the potential that's in there already. We'll show you what that looks like and how to do that. So, my goal is to show you today ways to improve 50 to 100%, even when other systems or things you've tried may have failed. And so you'll see why we can say that here in a little while when we do our demo. One of you gets to be a lucky participant today, and you'll see what I mean by that. So I want you to walk away with today what's really causing neuropathy. What's reversible and what might not be reversible. How it's actually measured, and then know what your next steps are going to be, after that. With just knowing, this is the next logical step. Okay. Yeah. Again, 20 million people dealing with this. You're not broken. You're dealing with a system issue. Like the whole body is involved. And if we're going to talk bigger metaphors, the medical system is not designed to be a place that provides healing. They typically give medication and surgery. Those are their options. And they're amazing at it. But when it comes to chronic illnesses, we got a lot to be lacking in there, right? Yeah. So, basically that the standard system that we all kind of grew up with isn't really addressing core root issues. You're typically doing more symptom management. Okay. So, and that's why the traditional model falls short, is they're doing medications that can dull pain or make you feel a bit better. It's not like it's worthless, but it doesn't actually solve the underlying issues. Decline is often labeled as normal aging, or you've got diabetes, you just have to deal with it. That's not going to change, and so on and so forth. But nerves don't die from a lack of drugs, right? They die from a lack of nourishment. And that's kind of the big picture with all of this. We're going for restoration, not just symptom management. So if you're kind of tired of having the symptoms managed, raise your hand. Okay, just making sure, because otherwise we can just stop there. But yeah, nerves heal when they're nourished. Simple concept, but that's a big deal. So what happens with neuropathy is it usually doesn't take everything out of your life in one shot, like a heart attack or something like that, right? Or a stroke. It's just you start losing confidence in your balance. You start not sleeping as well. Travel is like, maybe not, maybe next year. So anybody have to put some things off or start to change how they're living because of what they're dealing with? Yeah, you're nodding your head, even a Bob's nod. Yeah, right? Like it just starts to go, I can't do that anymore. I'm afraid to do that. Or, yeah. This was my anniversary trip a couple summers ago to the Finger Lakes. And, you basically use on the other side of that climb. And I thought, my patients on this side of treatment wouldn't even consider trying to climb the stairs, let alone, and I just remind me why I do this, right? Because it's like, there's so much beauty in life. And to have to give those things up unnecessarily is just that. That's unnecessary. Let's get to a different spot. So we want to help people get back into the things they love to do without the, neuropathy holding them back. So big idea is this. The only way to reverse neuropathy is to restore nerves. And the only way to restore nerves is to actually nourish them with what they need. So the plant is a great example, especially springtime now, right? Everyone's out in the garden and so on. What do plants need to survive and thrive? Yeah, food, water, sunlight, pretty basic, right? And so nerves are very, very similar. Hey, Titus,
Yes.
welcome. Come on up here. You get front row, buddy. We say the front row for you. Yeah. Welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, good. So you're just on time. We just got into what even is neuropathy. Who wants to just tie this up? Class, what have we learned so far? What's neuropathy? Yeah, damage to the nerves, absolutely. Yeah. And we just started talking about how if you think of a concept of a plant and it needs soil, water, nutrients to work right, your nerves need the same thing. Okay? That's the quick sum up. So with that in mind, I want to show you what happens in neuropathy and really what's the underlying driver for all of this stuff, all the different symptoms. So if you put your hand up like this for me, this will be a little example you can use and understand this better. So that's your nerve cell, okay? Put your hand up like that. And these are the blood vessels that feed the nerve cell, okay? Now, if you squeeze your hand as tightly as you can, and we're going to hold this for 15 minutes. Yeah. But so let's say 15 minutes goes by, and right, what's going to happen? What are you going to feel in your hand? Right, numbness, what else might you feel? Right, yeah, so it might go numb, you might feel tingles, you might feel maybe some pain. Yeah, eventually it's going to get tired, maybe some muscle weakness in there. Because it sounds like neuropathy symptoms, right? So when you start to choke off the blood supply and you start to suffocate the nerve, it starts to let you know. And it lets you know about these symptoms you all just mentioned. Okay, so that's what's going on with any type of neuropathy we're dealing with, is choking off blood supply and that nerve is now suffocating. And how long can you live without oxygen? Days, minutes, hours, it's minutes. Yeah, a couple minutes. And so oxygen's a big deal getting to that nerve tissue or it starts to die off. Does that make sense? So the better question is, and literally what causes this is over 100 different things in the literature. So you can name any disease concept you want, and there's a medication for that, right? You can treat it that way, or you go, what's causing this, and how do we get this back? Because if we can restore blood flow, we can get nutrients in, right? We get toxins out. The same idea with the plant. You change the environment, change the soil, change, right? Your plant's gonna grow. Make sense? So that's what we're trying to do with that. So if you get nothing else today, it's like, what causes neuropathy? Oh, nerves are suffocating, nerves are choking off, nerves are dying because there's lack of nutrients and blood flow getting in the tissue. It can't be nourished when it's like this. Is that fair? Okay. So that's what we're dealing with there. There's three primary drivers that all the 100 plus things in the literature boil down to. Okay? And these three we see commonly. They show up time and time again. Circulation and oxygen delivery, we just kind of talked about that as a big one. Okay, what else will do this is inflammation. Think about like a sunburn on the inside. Okay, ouch, it hurts, right? And that's going to create a lot of those pain and inflammatory drivers like that. And the other one is breaking down in the nerve signaling. That can come for various reasons, maybe an actual trauma. I had one gentleman with a gunshot wound in the backside. He literally got shot in the butt, and we couldn't help him because the nerve is literally severed, right? So, nerve breakdown. Now, other common ones are like a pinched nerve in the back, right? Like a compressed disc or something along those lines. And so if there's a breakdown in the signaling from the feet through the spine to the brain, that can cause problems. Does that make sense? So we have equipment and tools that can support in that healing journey with getting the nerve signaling balance. But these are the three biggies. If we can tackle circulation and oxygenation, inflammation, and the nerve signaling, guess what? We win more times than not. Okay? Now, here's breakthrough number one. Circulation and oxygen delivery. What we do in our assessment is a thermal scan, which will look for heat temperature changes, right? So when it's warm, that's going to mean there's good blood flow. What colors do you see? What are the warm colors? Notice the hands and the torso. Red and white. Those are the two normal colors in my office. Anything else is not acceptable. What do you see in the feet? Green, blue. These are, actually almost colder than the floor, right? So it's like circulation problems. Now, a lot of people go to their medical doctor and they say, oh, your circulation is fine. We checked your arteries in your feet. And that's fine. And that's great. But what it doesn't check is the micro circulation, which is the capillaries that do this. You with me? And so this isn't measured by a dorsal pedal artery pulse or Doppler, or you can't check it that way. Think about when it snows. Thankfully, we're past that season, right? Well, maybe. But anyway, when it snows, what do they plow first? What roads do they plow first? The main one, like the big artery, right? The big highways. And then the smaller ones, and then maybe they get to your street, right? It's kind of how it works. So the capillaries are like your street and your driveway. It's like if it's clogged up, then the plow truck's going to put more snow on that thing. So that's what we got to think about conceptually is even if the big highways are open, it doesn't mean you're getting out of your neighborhood. And that's where you can't get to the store, you can't do all the things that make life happen. So blood flow is a big one. This is 6 weeks later. So this is June 2nd. This is middle of July. And what are you noticing now on the feet? Right? So this one's still cooler than the other one, but it's colder. But we're making headway, right? We're starting to get blood flow back into the tissue, which then does what? What does that allow for now? Exactly. When the body has nourishment, it can start to regrow tissue and heal nerves and do all the things it knows to do. Does that make sense? So that's a big one. Number 2 is inflammation. Okay? Here are the big triggers for inflammation. Prolonged stress. When you're stressed out, we do more of this, right? We're not relaxing, chilling out, and healing. We're fight, flight, freeze. And that makes systemically blood flow more challenging in the periphery because we're trying to conserve it for core organ function. Okay? So stress will do that. Pathogens. We are number 1 in the world, Pennsylvania is, for what disease? Hunters get it all the time. Tick-borne illnesses. You have Lyme disease. There's a specific organism called Bartonella, which is known to create a lot of the symptoms of neuropathy. So that's what we screen for commonly in the office to see is the immune system involved in the challenge. Imagine then blood flows pour to the tissue, and maybe it's hiding out in there. You can't even tell. It makes sense. And then when you start opening it up, sometimes we find more immune problems when it starts healing because now the body can find it. Is that tracking? So bottom line is pathogens can be a problem. We've seen a rise in this since COVID as well. Chronic viral things or toxins from vaccines or whatever can be all an element in here as well. And then this next big section, junk food. Everybody knows don't eat junk food, but we do anyway, right? So that's a big deal. Chemicals, medications, chemotherapy is another major player. It is known to actually create neuropathy, part of the package. Those are frankly some of the easier ones to help. But chemicals, medications. The other one I should mention there would be like some statin drugs. Statins are known to create muscle weakness and some pain, things like that. So if you're dealing with that and you're on the statin, you might check your pharmacist or your provider and see about, ask those questions, okay? Heavy metals is another one. Mercury is poisonous. A lot of people have that in their mouth. Years and years and years, a little bit of that leaks out, and then you got damage to nerve tissue. Right? Nerves and mercury don't get along. So that can be an issue. And then dehydration is another biggie. We need at least half our body weight in ounces a day with water. If you're drinking coffee, you're going to deplete 2 cups of water for every cup of caffeinated coffee you're drinking. So make sure you're staying hydrated with water is a big deal. That could be its own whole workshop on water. But those will drive inflammation high, and then inflammation makes nerve mad. Okay? So we got to tackle those items to improve that. Quick story about Isabel. She came in, it's been a few years now. She had severe type 2 diabetes. Previously had cancer. On her intake paperwork, she said, "Doc, if nothing's different in my life in a year, I'm probably going to be dead." And she had a daughter she wanted to see go to college and live life. So wonderful French lady, great sense of humor, good spark for life. Her body needed support. So we helped her with detoxification, getting the toxins out of her system with the chemo. She was cancer free now; she didn't need that anymore. So we helped her clean that up. Helped her make lifestyle changes, anti-inflammatory diet, and help with hydration and light therapy, which you'll see here in a minute when we do our demo. And with that, she says, "I'm on top of the world, flying on a cloud no matter what are the circumstances. I am feeling my best in my body at 53. A year ago, I was told that I was very sick." She got to see her daughter go to college. She's now a junior in college, which is pretty awesome. And well, she came in one day and she said, "Doc, I'm feeling amazing, and I got a bill for you." I was like, "What's going on, Isabel?" And she said, "I've lost 70 pounds. None of my clothes fit anymore, not even my underwear, and I'm giving you a bill because I need an entire new wardrobe." And so that was her French sense of humor that took off guard for a minute, but we got a good laugh about that. But this picture is 70 pounds later. And type 2 diabetes is gone. She no longer has diabetes. Her entire life changed. And so I mention that because some of you aren't ready for the transformation that you're capable of. But can you imagine what life would be like being completely different? Some people have lost that hope. Now, does that happen for everybody? I'm not going to say that. But for those that are ready to do the work and really make the changes, literally a completely new life is available. Okay? So, that is Isabel. Most people treat neuropathy blindfolded, though. Welcome. We got front row seats for you here. You're just in time. Nancy and Dennis. Welcome. Yeah. Welcome. Mm-hmm. So, who wants to catch up Dennis and Nancy? Your local, your neighbors? Give or take, where'd you come from?
From New Bloomfield.
Oh, New Bloomfield. Okay, wow. Yeah, thanks for being here today. Quick recap. Did I catch you up? Neuropathy is damage to your nerves. You need to make sure, what are the three things? We'll ask you guys, because that's more important that you remember than I do. What are the three things that damage the nerves over and over and over again? Inflammation. It's like a sunburn on the inside. What was the other one? Inflammation. Yes, inflammation. Yeah, good. We back it up. There we go. Remember circulation, oxygenation? Okay. Inflammation and breakdown in nerve signaling. Okay. So, you're going to see me doing this a lot because we just did a demo on this is your nerve cell, and these are the blood vessels that feed it. And if you choke off the blood supply, how happy are your nerves? Not too happy. Does that make sense, Dennis? So we're looking at how can we make this happen again to nourish the nerves again. Okay? That's the super quick recap. Let's continue. If you have questions after, let me know. All right. Going in the wrong direction. There we go. So what we want to do is measure things. And then we know where we're starting and we're making headway and improvement. Most people aren't measuring anything. Neurologists might do a couple of tests here and there. And then say, well, Here's your diagnosis. Good luck. They might do nerve conduction testing. Anybody had that done?
Yeah.
You have had that done? Yeah, that's not really comfortable one, is it? No. That tells you if the nerve is working from the spine or brain to the muscle. It does not tell you about the sensory. It doesn't tell you what you can feel. There's no machine on the planet that can tell you what you feel. Even if they're computerized testing, it still is, can you feel that? And at what pressure? And does that make sense? So like you feel whatever you feel, and that's going to be part of the assessment. Nerve conduction isn't wrong or bad, it's just incomplete, and it tells you about motor. Can you actually move the muscle, and is the spine communicating to the end tissue? Does that make sense? So anyway, we won't get all the testing on that, but the bottom line is, we measure, know what's going on. Otherwise, you don't know if anything's working or moving the right way. So let's see what we can figure out with that. When we started addressing the root cause, we're getting blood flow back, we're getting inflammation down, we're getting nerve flow restored, right? We start seeing better balance. Pain levels improve, order sensations, sometimes it's a hot, cold, sleeplessness, anybody who's asleep. Yeah, so like those are common ones I hear all the time. But confidence comes back, which is a big deal. And the question is, can neuropathy improve 100%? Can yours? I don't know. That's what we got to figure out. That's what we go to testing. What happens, other stories to encourage you. People that have been in your shoes not long ago. This one always strikes me because she says, we were miserable. It's never the isolated person dealing with the symptoms. It's their support group. It's their family. It's their, right? It's like, we were miserable. Sure, Jay was in rough shape. He thought it was feet problems. He had to quit his job and all that sort of thing because he couldn't see. He was a painter. Couldn't stand on ladders anymore. And he was just literally. He came in the car riding backwards in a chair. He couldn't sit down. He was in such bad shape. So bottom line is, we helped him get through that. Got him fixed up. Got him back to work. Now he's walking better without pain. Rick had bad neuropathy, is driving me crazy, but it felt like they were ice cold all the time. Anybody relate to that one? Yeah. Sleeping, you wake up 5 and 6 times a night. Like, that's not sleeping. I don't know if you're like me, if I have a bad night's sleep, I'm always a little grumpy the next day. Yeah, and then that affects my wife and my kids, and everything just isn't as enjoyable. So I can't imagine 5 to 6 times a night. So here's the thing. Rick came in, he had a son with severe special needs, and he wanted to be the dad that he knew he could be. And he's like, I gotta go to sleep to make that happen. So he no longer has to get up in the nighttime. He's not neuropathy, he's 75% better. This is after 90 days. And he went on to continue to improve. Sandy saw a lot of progress in my neuropathy. When I first came in, it was pretty bad shape and couldn't walk. I experienced a lot of pain in my legs, and now my right leg is pain-free, and my left leg is feeling better. The treatment is helping, and it's worth every penny. What if you're next, right? So, like, maybe you could have a story like that, too. I mentioned Leroy. He got 50% better in 90 days, and he was in type 2 diabetic and would not stop drinking turkey hill sweet tea. Like, you know this is harming you, right? And he said, I know, but I'm just not giving it up. I mention that because you don't need to be perfect to make headway, right? So he still got improvement, even though he wasn't, 100% compliant with the plan that we put together for him. Does that make sense? LC got better. Again, these are like, I can feel my toes for the first time in 5 to 6 years. I can feel my feet again for the first time in 10 years. So even though it's been there for a long time, if this isn't totally dead, we can usually get some nerve function back. Is it 100% all the time? No, but it's better than bad, right? It's like you're starting to get life back again. So we're here to give you some truth and hope. I'm not going to make promises and promise miracles and all that stuff. What we want to do is give you some hope and give you some power in information to be able to make decisions that will make sense for you. Okay. So not every nerve can be saved, like I mentioned. If it's a severed nerve or whatever, that's a problem. If you've lost 85% of the sensory of your ability to feel in that nerve, that means that plant is too far gone, and you're gonna. So like back to that plant analogy, if that plant's dying, and you change soil and water and sunlight and all that, but that plant's too far gone, it's just too far gone, right? It's not coming back. Nerves are very similar. So if it's been this way for too long and suffocating and choking off, if it's been that way for too long, we can change the environment, but it's just not. Once you've lost 85% of that feeling, that's when there's typically permanent nerve damage. Okay? So we can catch it before then, we usually have a really good shot at making some good headway. And that's what our testing helps to figure out. Obviously, earlier intervention gets better outcomes. Right? The sooner you catch a problem, the easier it is to work with, typically. And clarity changes everything. We measure it, we find out how things are going, and then you have understanding and ideas for what to do next. So what I want to do now is show you what I mean with the nerve signaling. That was our third component, remember? Oxygenation, inflammation, and nerve signaling. So what we're going to do now is actually kind of get this a little interactive. We're going to do some balance testing, okay? And before we do that, would it be helpful to know like what got me into this, like why I even started learning neuropathy and how to help people with this? So I'll tell the short version. I've been in practice now over 20 years. I never went to school and said, hey, I want to learn how to work on neuropathy and help people with that. Anybody else learn through the School of Hard Knocks? Yeah, so that was kind of what happened in my life. My dad, he served 2 tours in Vietnam. And with that, he had Agent Orange exposure. And hey, welcome.
Hi,
You're just in time for our demo. You're going to love it.
I can participate?
I don't know yet. You can definitely do what we're going to do in a minute.
Okay.
I'm just kind of giving you the story on how I got started into this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So with that, my dad had Agent Orange exposure, and that's a nerve toxin. And he also, we got heart disease and diabetes in my family story and things like that. So he had some things going on, and he jumped out of perfectly good airplanes, and also hurt his back before. So he got, he had all 3 of these things going on, right? With that in mind, he's also a tough guy. He's been through some stuff. Thankfully, he never shared a lot of it with me. But he could handle it, right? And he wouldn't bother the family and let us know how bad things were getting or all that. And so there's this communication challenge that happens amongst people and loved ones with that. That being said, he had a heart of gold. And our neighbor was having a litter of puppies. And so he went up to the garage, the second story shed, and got kenneled out with a whelping box. And as he was coming down the stairs, he lost his balance. And he fell. And he ended up breaking his neck from that fall. And that completely changed her life. And I remember going down to the hospital and seeing the x-rays, and they're like, Doc, we're doing the best we can, but your dad's going to be in the chair. And he lost his ability to hug his kids and grandkids. And, he was able to start to feed himself as time went on again, but that whole journey completely changed what, my career path and how that developed. Right? So I figured if I can learn how to help people maintain their balance and maintain their quality of life and get, save one person from that outcome, it's worth every minute I've spent flying across the country, studying this stuff, after hours, putting together protocols. Does that make sense? It's taken years, and you've been doing this for about a decade now, specifically with neuropathy. And so that's the journey that I went through to get here and go, this medical model is broken. God bless the VA and all that they do, but that's not enough to really get health back to the tissues and the nerves. And so that's what led me to develop the support that we actually can offer now. Okay, so just know that that's the story that's coming. A allows us to do these workshops because we don't have the budget like Big Pharma to, spend billions on ads or whatever. It's like we're just telling neighbors and friends and helping people get information that way. Does that make sense? So with that in mind, balance is a big deal, right? That's a big one. So I want to invite you to a balance test. I'll show you what we're going to do, and then we'll do it as a group. And this is to bring some awareness to where you're at with your situation. Maybe confirm what you already know, or maybe highlight something that you were unaware of. Okay? So the first test is feet go together, hands go on the hips, and you're going to close your eyes for 10 seconds. Everyone should pass that one. If you fall over, we got bigger problems. Okay? So that's number one. Number two is one knee up and 10 seconds, eyes open. If you pass that one, what's next?
Yeah.
Both feet up. No, yeah, it'd be eyes closed, absolutely. So most people, we get 90% of people that fail on this one, which is if the foot touches at all. You can do this all you want, but if the hands move or the foot touches, you're failing the test. Okay, so that's what we're going to go through the screening and just kind of bring some awareness for where you're at. Okay, so I'll invite you to stand up. If any of these feel uncomfortable or unsafe, do not feel like you need to do them. Don't be a hero, but we haven't had anybody go down yet, and I've been doing these for a long time. Okay. Thanks for playing, Dennis.
I can't do that.
That's okay. The one leg one, that don't even bother. Before we get going, though, look to the person to your right and left and say, I got your back. Okay, we're not letting anybody go down today. All right, so the first one is hands on the hips, feet together as close as you're able to. And I'm going to count us in, and it'll be eyes closed for 10 seconds. Ready? 3, 2, 1, close the eyes. And that's 10 seconds. Good job. You open your eyes. Somebody fell over. Okay, that's a good win. Now, the next one is, before we get to that, who felt like they could do that all day long? No problem whatsoever. That's totally fine. That'd be a 10 out of 10. If you're like, I'm about to fall over, that's a 0. Who was a 5 or better? Heather was, and Buddy, you were pretty decent on that. And
Not bad.
not bad. So like the 6 or
The 5.
the 5, like middle-ish.
Right.
Okay. And who was lower than that? It was like, oh, this is not, I'm feeling really shaky, and nobody really less than a 5, so pretty much in the middle range. What I commonly see with that is, yes, you passed the test, but in your mind you're going, can I really take that set of stairs? Right? Should I really try that in the dark? Right? It's just this constant hesitation. Right? Does that make sense? It kind of makes you feel a little more just heightened, more alert, more aware, and that takes a lot of energy just to live that way, right? So, just as a note, let's do the next one. Hands go on the hips, and when you're ready, we bring stand on your strongest leg, and you're gonna bring that knee up as close to waist height as you're able to, and we're gonna do that in 10 seconds, eyes open. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and go. Your feet go down, okay? Yeah. And that's 10. Who passed that one? Awesome, yeah, so 2. Yeah, that's like I said, 80, 90%. That gets most people on that one. For the sake of time, we're going to skip the eyes closed. You're welcome to play with that one at home. Stand next to a wall if you're going to do that. Whose balance was better than they thought it was? No hands on that one. Anybody about what you thought it was? Most of you already knew that. How about worse than you knew it was, or worse than you were aware of? Most of you were about something a little worse.
I'm like, oh, really?
Okay, yeah. You're like, oh, man, I didn't know
Like,
it was that.
really?
Yeah, oh, really? Okay, yeah. Well, good. Thanks for playing. I'll go and have a seat. Was that helpful to kind of see where you're at on all that? With that in mind, we're going to use that information for our demo. Does anybody we're going to do a nerve system response test. We're going to do some challenges to see, that sounds like a strong word. We're going to see some assessments on what your nervous system is capable of. We're going to do some non-invasive interventions to see if we can actually energize the system more and see if your nervous system is responding to that. Okay, so nothing hurts. That's usually what everybody asks. Does it hurt? None of it hurts. Okay? Anybody not want an opportunity to improve today? I've had a few people like, don't pick me, I don't want to. Okay. So then let's do this. Who has had neuropathy for, or these symptoms anyway, and your balance isn't great, and it's bothering sleep, it's bothering balance, it's bothering life, like pretty substantially. Titus, and she's like, you better raise your hand, Bob. Okay. And Dennis, obviously you've been struggling a while just watching you get out of a chair. That's been a rough go. Yeah. Yeah. So for the sake of that, I can already tell yours is a little more advanced. We're going to pass on you for the demo today. As much as I would love to jump in and support on that one. So it looks like we got Titus and Bob as our options. Now, the way we solve this is with rock, paper, scissors. Remember that? We got a little fun. You got to play a minute, right? So remember rock, paper, scissors? Let me show you real fast because this has happened more than once. So rock, paper, and scissors. That easy. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then you pick one of those three, whichever one you want. All right? You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. You both got the scissors. Let's go again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. So you both got paper. Okay, let's try again. Here we go. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so scissors, paper. Okay, Titus, you're our guy. All right, come on up here for me. All right, look. So, can you share with us a little about what you're experiencing? What's going on with your feet?
Yeah. Everything will be okay. Don't need it. But when I lie down, about to sleep, that's when the trouble starts.
That's when the trouble starts. From there down. Okay. So yeah, during the day when you're up and moving, typically the brain's occupied with other things when you lay down to sleep. And it's like, oh, remember that thing? And it lets you know all about it.
And it's Rick's story.
Rick's story. That's you, waking up all the time.
Yes.
All right, let's see what we can do. Okay, I'm just stand here, and we're going to face our awesome audience here. Let's give them a round of applause. I think we get clapped for like twice after high school is the average, so we're going to give a little more help where we can. So what we're going to do is checking some sway. You already know your balance isn't amazing. Let me step back a little bit here. There we go. And what I'm going to do is just kind of give you a little push forward. You lean back into my hand. Okay. And so I can move him pretty easily. Now, let's try the other direction. I'm going to put my hand here on the chest, leaning forward. And see, that one's actually not good either. If we're going to fall, we tend the brain says, oh, let's fall forward. Right? That would be the safest way to fall. We definitely don't want to go back. But even his forward one isn't catching him. Lean to the left of my hand here. Okay. Decent stability. I'm going to lean in. He's got some stability there. And leaning to your right. Okay. So his side to side's not horrible. This one's a little weaker, but nothing crazy on that. Forward back where you see him swaying on that. Now, if we notice his posture, you see this shoulder higher than this one. Yeah, don't stop wiggling. You see it there? This was like, he's got an angle like that. That tells me the muscle that holds that down probably isn't firing right. We're going to test it and see. Turn your thumb backwards, elbow straight, arm in tight. Yeah, like that. Perfect. I'm going to pull out, keep that right to your side. Pull that in for me. Yeah, and see that one shaking and wiggling? It moves right away from his body. Try the other one for me here. Sorry about that. Same thing. Pull that in tight here, hold that in. And now when I can pull my body weight on, that's not going anywhere. What does that have to do with neuropathy? I don't know. It's just easy to show in this demo. There's a nerve function that's not working right or balanced. Does that make sense? Are you right-handed?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd expect the right side to maybe be stronger than the left side. And so this is not a sidedness, or this is a nerve that's dysfunctional. Okay? Now, what we really need to know is about balance and leg support, because that's what moves you around during the day, and that's where he's feeling his symptoms. So, to do that, let's measure balance one more time. We'll actually time this. Which is your stronger leg?
Left.
Okay, so the left one's stronger. So stand on the stronger leg then, the hands go on the hips. And then we're going to see about how long we can do this, okay? So I'll say go, you're going to raise that right leg up. I'll count us in by 3, okay? So 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, so maybe 2 seconds, if I'm being generous on that. So it wasn't real long, right? If we can improve that at all, that would be a win. I don't know if we make a change in this. We're just noticing what's going on with tight. Is that fair? So let's see what's going on. Let's check range of motion here. Let your shoulder relax. My fingers are a little chilly. Let that go heavy. Nice and loose. I'm going to move your arm. Let me move it. There we go. That's not bad, but it should glide up and hit him right in the ear. Let this relax completely. That one's a little, any shoulder problems in there? Yeah. So I don't know if that changed or not, but he's definitely stuck a little less than 90 on that one. You with me? All right. Let's do this. Have a seat for me here. Yep. There we go. How's that? Comfortable? That's all right? Yeah, good. Now we're going to check the stair climbers and the hamstrings, okay? So I'll have you raise your knee up in my hand. You're just going to lift it straight up. Yeah, there you go. And I can lean on that pretty good. Try the other one here. Lift that straight up. That one's shakier. You notice that? You can't hold that one up. Do that again. You're trying. It just kind of, right. Can you pull this heel backwards? Yeah, I'm going to pull your foot. Don't let me pull it. That's all right. Let's try the other one here. Pull that back. Okay. And that one moves. Are you noticing that? You can move around if you want to see it that easier. So we have, this one's weaker on the front and back. The hamstring's okay there. Can you put your heels on the floor and toes up? Yep, just heels, there you go. Bend the knees, so yeah, just like that. We're checking this muscle here. And this is if you're, when this one goes weak, you start tripping over curbs and things like that. Hold the feet up for me there. And again, we see it on the right, the left one is decent. So this gas pedal foot's a little too heavy. That's a good joke. So we got weakness more on this right side than the left one is all right. So you're trying to get with me? So help me remember all that, because we're going to recheck it here in a little minute. And what we're going to do now is apply some of the common tools we would use to see if his nervous system can respond and see what happens. All right? So with that, let me take your shoes off for me. Perfect. Okay. There you go. Right on there for me. Awesome. And then, can you grab a weak folder for me? It'll be in 3. So we're adding energy to the system here. Light energy. That's what you're seeing, the red light. Red light does this. But with blood vessels, you can literally regrow new blood vessels and hair. There actually is red light for hair.
I can see, I was just going to say,
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, there actually is a
And
thing.
one of those lights for your face,
Mm-hmm.
your hair.
Yep.
I saw that.
So this one is a lot more powerful, and it does more like regrowing of blood vessels. And how's that feel on the feet there? Feels all right?
Yeah, I feel it.
So vibration is another big one for balance. Do you ever push a hand mower? What happens to the hand after a while? Because I'm intending, right? That's the wrong vibration pushing blood out. We get the right vibration into the feet, and we start to see improvement in balance and circulation. We get the right good vibes, right? Make things more relaxed and heal. Fine. All right, now on your hands, I don't have neuropathy, and I can feel this fairly strong at 5. Turn that up a little bit more. Or drop it. Thanks. Yeah. Put your hands on there. So you notice. Feel that. Feel that in the hands. Yeah, you can't really see that, but he's got twitching going on in the hands, in the forearms. It's an electrical signal that's going into the tissue, and it's training the nerves. And we're going to put that on the feet. What do you notice here? Do you feel that? The same way as the hands, or a bit less?
It's less.
Less into the feet. That's most common, because you mentioned symptoms of the feet. And what we're going to do is go ahead and pick your feet up. We'll just put that right on, yeah, just like that. Get you some help in the bottom of the feet there. So, a couple things going on. One is red light, improving blood flow, doing this. The other is a digital electrotherapeutic stimulator. You may have heard of a TENS unit before. This is not TENS, but it looks similar. TENS is 1950s technology. Does not work with neuropathy. Okay, this one sends a signal to the nerve every 4 milliseconds. It's changing the signaling to rehab the nerve. Okay, and then the other one we mentioned is the light therapy. Now, all of that is designed to do what? Well, what are the 3 things we need to work on to get improvement in the nerve? Blood flow oxygenation, good. What was the other one? Sunburn on the inside? Inflammation, right? The light works on both of those, as does the vibration. And then the other one is the nerve signaling, right? Breakdown of nerve signaling, which we're solving or helping to support with the digital electrotherapeutic stimulator, or the DETS. Okay? So are you tracking with these? So that's what we're doing. We're applying physics to support the natural healing environment in the body. Who has questions about that?
I do.
Fire away.
Okay, so for the digital stimulation
Yep.
to the feet, you have the hand glove, but is there one for just the feet and
Yeah.
like the thigh area? I've done some research.
You've done some research, good.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Commonly, we'll use actually a foot bath. You put your feet in water to treat that at home. You get more surface area with the water coverage. That's usually, and then there's other benefit with warm water and circulation, things like that. So we've got ways to solve that. That this is our demo with the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question. Other questions? Who's ever seen anything like this before? You've seen similar things. Tell me about that. What do you notice?
The red light therapy, I've seen it in
Yep.
use already.
Okay. Specifically for
The neuropathy.
neuropathy. Have you experienced that before?
Mhm.
Cool. Help, not help?
No,
Helped. Awesome. Good. You have one?
Yeah.
Awesome. Love that. A lot of people are like, they're doing their own research. They're showing up with stuff that's already helpful. I love that. That means we don't need to do it. Right? It's like, makes everybody's job easier. You've already solved a part of the puzzle. Yeah.
And on the percentage wise, when you're dying, how much might that be having or?
Depends on the person, right? So if you're diabetic, it's a giant part of it. If you're more of a, we'll say it this way. The in-office treatment's about a third of it. The diet, long-term, is going to be a big third of it. Right. And then the other things that you need for support, equipment-wise, would be the other third. So it's typically in that arena. What we did before that failed was only doing in-office treatment. It worked for a while, or not at all. And just it wasn't consistent enough to make changes. Does that make sense? So we found a hybrid model that works amazingly well for the cases that we can't accept, where we see people in the office for a period of time, and then they're doing home therapy every single day. Okay, and you'll see why that makes sense here in a minute. How are you doing, Doc?
Good.
Good.
Whenever you're ready.
How you feeling, Titus?
Okay.
Pretty good? Let's see what we did. All right, before you stand up, you put your shoes on now. We're testing apples to apples here. And let's see what changed, if anything changed. If we're not looking for, we've seen miracles just with a demo, but we're just looking for, can his nervous system respond? Does it make sense? We're going, is this helpful? Is this helping at all? So bring your heels on the floor and feet up again like you did before. Yeah, like that. And then hold those feet up for me there. Is that different? Wonderful, he says. What was wonderful? What'd you notice?
This we kill. Steady up. It didn't go down.
Didn't go down. Yeah, it stabilized. Let's check the other ones. Let's see what else happened. Can you pull this heel back? Better? Raise that one to the ceiling for me. Yep, push that up. Okay, that one's still a little spongy, but it's still better, isn't it? Yeah, it was like, you saw him kind of ratcheting and shaky before. Pretty cool. All right, go ahead and stand up for me. Let's see what's next. What do you notice in your feet?
He's moving.
Usually, I don't have problem walking around the house.
Mhm.
It is really
Just at night time. So we may not notice a huge symptomatic change at the moment. You'll have to call us tomorrow and let us know how you slept.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, call me tomorrow and let me know how you slept.
For this,
Yeah, we'll
because
find
of
out.
this.
I've seen a demo last for up to 2 weeks
Mm.
before they came in for their assessment.
Okay.
They're like, no, it's been great. Other times, it's a few hours. I don't know. That's why I always like to learn.
I see.
So let's have you stand here facing our group again. Let's see if there's anything is different with range of motion. Let this relax completely. Let it go heavy for me. Let it go. Yeah, there you go. Wow. He's hitting the ceiling now with his hand. He didn't before. Is this one different?
Oh.
Wow.
Wow. That one's a miracle. He was less than 90 degrees on that shoulder.
Yeah.
That's a big change.
It's a big change.
Turn your,
This one.
right?
Yeah.
Turn your hand backwards for me. Pull that in tight. Pull that in. Yeah. And see, now that's firing strong like the other ones. I had one lady, I had no idea about her history, and she had moved her arm past 90 degrees like 20 years.
Wow.
And in the demo, it went right up. She started crying, and I thought we hurt her. And I was like, oh no, what happened? And she's like, no, I've been moving my arm in 20 years. So when you give the body what it needs to start healing, The point is, you can see amazing things happen. Imagine having the ability to use this kind of thing day in and day out for 90 days, 6 months, a year. Can you see why we're making 50 to 100% improvement? We're giving the body. Do we change his diet? We didn't change his diet yet, right? We haven't done anything with chemistry. We're just giving the body the physics, the energy it needs to start healing again. And that's the light and the vibration, right? We're getting those three things to start to change. So, balance was the other one. We'll see if we got any better. I don't know on that one, but hands on the hips. We're going to stand on that left leg again when you're ready. 3. I'll go when you go. Whenever you're ready.
Go.
Okay. Okay.
2.5.
2.5, maybe. Yeah, like, I can't see we made any objective change on that one. But the nice thing is when we do our measurements, we actually have a force plate that will literally give you a fall risk. It's going to measure, like, what, how steady are you on your feet? Give us a number we can watch actually change. Now I want you to lean back in my hand. This one is different. Now I'm like leaning on him and he can hold that. And then same thing, leaning forward for me here. And so we've actually changed, let me rephrase it. His body made a change. His neurology is now upregulated to where he can withstand some force where he couldn't before. What does that mean about his balance frame? It's in a different world. Yeah, it's better. Thanks for being here today. Glad you showed up, aren't you?
Thank you.
Yeah, Titus, welcome. Have a seat. And thanks to my amazing team that makes us happy, because I definitely couldn't do it without them. Very grateful for them. Again, you see the red light. Has anybody else seen changes like that quickly? That's what we do here. That's why we can see diabetes go away. Like, we're getting the body, like, this is what we see neuropathy improving. Because we're adding all the puzzle pieces together and giving the body the things that it needs to start healing on its own. Okay? So, that's nerve signaling. So, this is not about signing up for care or anything like that. No pressure. This is about, can your body recover and how far? That's the question we're trying to answer. So our process is simple. We have a 2-day process to kind of show you what next steps could look like. And what this allows us to do is remove any guessing and give you real answers as to what's going on, how bad is it, can we help, and what are the options. Okay? So we really believe that everybody deserves answers before they make any decisions. So we measure nerve damage, we measure your circulation and oxygen delivery, we do your balance and fall risk. We identify your primary driver. Is it oxygenation? Is it blood flow? Is it inflammation? Is it nerve signaling? Or what combination of those three are we really dealing with? And then know if improvement is realistic for you. No guessing, no pressure, just giving the answers. Okay? Normally, this is a 2-visit process. We have our consult, examination, advanced diagnostics. That's our discovery day. And then we put together that information in the team. We go over results and tell you what that information is on the follow-up. We also do a recovery response test similar to what we did for Titus today. So you'll actually get that similar call it treatment, but you understand what I'm saying. We're going to give you those same therapies to see what your body does for recovery, and then we'll know how you're responding within those 2 visits. Okay? Total value for that is $975. You're showing up today, learning about this, and we're going to thank you for that. On the second day, we're going to give you a chart that looks very much like this, exactly like this, really, and we're going to know, are we in permanent damage? Are we in severe? Are we in moderate? And so on. We want to be, the further this way, the better. Typically, the quicker it is to resolve things and the less expensive that is. That also gives us timelines on healing and how long nerves take to heal and kind of what we might expect for that. Okay, would that be helpful? Awesome. So most people ask a lot of questions before they come see us, so I'll kind of cover the most common ones we get, which is how do I know if this is going to work for me? And the simple answer is let's test and find out. Right? We don't really know for sure until we do our advanced testing. Second one is how long does it take to see improvement? How long did it take for tinnitus? Minutes, right? Some people it's that quick, other people it's not. But typically I'll say this, most people are noticing changes in their symptoms within a few weeks. And full resolution can take longer. Have some people been symptom-free or cured? I don't like to use that word because then I get calls from Pond Hockey and Freeburn and whoever, I don't want to talk to those guys. So we never say the word cured, but can we improve and support and have symptoms completely go away? That has happened a lot. Okay. Do some people make no headway? Yeah. Why do you think that would be? Too far gone, or they don't follow the plan. Your body it heals no differently than tinnitus. But the time frame may be a little different, right? So, but that's that one. So that's the improvement sign. Insurance coverage. What do you think? Correct. Medicare writes the guidelines on this, and let's be honest, they're just trying not to go broke. They're not trying to pay for those cutting edge technology that makes you actually better at life. So that being said, it's going to be out of pocket, just to be fully transparent and let you know that that's an investment in your own health for that. So with that in mind, we also then get the question, well, what does care typically cost? Commonly, we'll see it between $150 to maybe $400, $450 a month in that ballpark. And depending on how bad it is, what's going on, and what you would need for support. Okay. And
so do you have the full bed too, where it's the red light?
we do not have a full bed here. I don't see that specifically for neuropathy as always needed. It's not a bad tool. If you have that one, cool. But a lot of for what we're doing with this, that's usually too cumbersome, or they need to come here to do it, which then doesn't make that easy in the lifestyle. So we've adapted that for that reason. But yeah, if you have access to a full bed, that can be very helpful.
So, like at the gym, they have the box, the
red light box.
Is that strong enough?
I don't know. Depends on what's going on, right? Is it helpful and supportive? I'm going to say generally yes. The ones that we use for neuropathy are, I don't know what number to put on, but they're way stronger than that one. And we can do in technology changed pretty quick in this space. Even 2 years ago, they had a light that took 30 minutes to get the energy we needed in the tissue. It's not a bad one, it works amazing, but most people don't have an hour twice a day for their therapies. And so compliance went way down, which means we didn't get results, and at the end of the day, people weren't getting what they wanted. The one you saw us using with Titus, 1 minute. So for each foot, we can do 5-6 minutes and tag team things like while he's on the bike, we can make life simpler. If that answers your question, we look for simplicity. But yes, that could be a helpful one to start. Yeah. What if my exam shows I'm not a candidate? If you're dealing with something that's not in our wheelhouse or in our scope, then we're going to get you into good hands of other people that know how to help you. Okay, it shouldn't have to be promised these days, but it's a weird world, right? So, but my promise to you is if we're unable to help, we're going to make sure you get into some other good hands. Okay, so it should be a win-win either way. You're going to get good information and know where your next steps are going to be. What happens in a new patient exam? It takes about an hour. Nothing invasive. We're going to do some, like I mentioned, balance testing, the thermal camera for the blood flow. We're going to look at the muscle strengths and what we did for Titus. Go through a comprehensive history, some of the basics with high blood pressure, nothing scary, and but it gives us a lot of information on what's going on with your system and how we can help. Okay. And what else do I need to answer? Any other questions that come to your mind?
I do. So, because insurance is not covering any of this, if we're looking at like the moderate to severe, like 3 different options in price ranging, what are we talking? Maybe if I need a 6-month treatment, 12-month treatment,
Right.
18-month treatment, what is the typical ballpark that I'm looking at?
Yeah, that's a hard answer. I'm not trying to dodge the question. I'll give you averages and hope I don't shoot myself in the foot.
Average.
Is that fair?
Fair.
So commonly, if we're in the moderate to severe range, and we're looking at, we commonly follow patients for a year at least. Now, initial treatment is typically 90 days, maybe 4 months, where we need to get more energy and we're seeing them more often in the office. So for moderate to severe, it's not uncommon to see them weekly for about 12 weeks. And then you're doing therapies at home once, twice a day, typically twice a day. And then with that, there's a dietary thing we go through. There's food plans. All that. There's supplementation to get blood flow back. We go through all that information. And then the home equipment that you would own. Okay. So with all that in mind, we're in the ballpark. And then if we're doing in-office therapies with the software, which is you're going to be in the probably 10 to 15 range. Most people are on that, middle, lower side. If you're in the, again, we're talking moderate to severe. Yeah. If you're on the acute phase, we got things starting, you might only need the light, or like that could be way more option. So we customize this for everybody. It's not like a cookie cutter thing. Everybody gets the same exact thing. Is that helpful?
It is.
Yeah, it's just to be like, we're not hiding anything. That's what it is. So, yeah, our mission is really help people find answers and solutions to their problem with whatever their funds or their means allows for them, right? That's what we're here. So 2 paths we can go with now. Keep managing your symptoms, more meds, less feeling, fear of falling, keeping things up, maybe next year. Or we figure out what the real cause is. Get your circulation and nerves checked. Get your balance back. Sleeping better. All the things that are enjoyable in life. Get you a clear plan, clear path forward. So if you like clarity now, the next step is going to be to simply get an assessment. We've got some vouchers at the front. Tonight, instead of the $9.75 for everything, we're doing all that for $149. So $149, because I know insurance isn't going to pick this up. We're going to make this as simple as possible. Gives us the 2 visits and the trial recovery testing to see if your nerves are responding. And then we'll know a clear path forward, what your options are beyond that. Okay? So just to be clear, 2 visits and the nerve response testing, instead of the $9.75, it's $149. And we've got vouchers at the front if that's for you. You'll see Alyssa. Is Leslie still? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, Leslie's here as well. Most of you chatted with, talk with her. And they'll get you set up on next steps. Okay, did you learn something valuable today? See something pretty awesome? I would ask one other favor if I could. Before you go, this QR code takes us to